Hi everyone, it's Carlos PC747. I hope you get some benefit out of the tips I'm going to provide. If you want a more comfortable ride in turbulence, be a manual yaw dampener on your small plane. If you don't do anything in turbulence and you don't have any pressure on your rudder pedals, the aircraft is going to be a lot more susceptible to side loads and all sorts of other external influences. But if you provide forceful and even pressure evenly to the rudder pedals in cruise, it will be much more stable and you will have a more comfortable ride. Ailerons control drift, rudder doesn't. If you want to drift to the left, lower your left wing and hold it, and the airplane will start drifting to the left. If you want to drift to the right, lower your right wing and hold it, and the airplane will start drifting to the right. If there's no wind and the airplane is drifting to the left, it's because the left wing is lower than the right. If there's no wind and the airplane is drifting to the right, it's because the right wing is lower than the left. Every flight control action will result in a reaction from the aircraft that must be anticipated. If you lower the left wing, the nose will follow and turn to the left. If you lower the right wing and hold it, the nose will want to follow the wing and go to the right. So you have to anticipate that if you're going to lower the left wing while keeping the aircraft longitudinally parallel with the runway, you have to hold opposite rudder. So if you lower the left wing, you have to apply the requisite amount of opposite rudder to keep the nose straight. You can call this a side slip. Likewise, if you're going to hold the right wing down, you're going to have to hold opposite or left rudder to keep the longitudinal axis of the aircraft parallel with the runway as well. Again, this is called a side slip, but you could also call it a crosswind landing technique. You will never hear an instructor say that a side slip is a crosswind landing technique, but in fact, they are the exact same technique. The only difference is when you have a crosswind, that wind component is preventing you from sliding sideways, but the technique is the same. What is the difference between a forward slip and a side slip? They're both cross-control maneuvers. The main difference is in a forward slip, there's no reference to a landing surface. So there's no regard to the longitudinal axis of the aircraft being parallel with the landing runway in front of you. Whereas in a side slip, the longitudinal axis of the aircraft remains parallel as you side slip from side to side. Why do they call it a forward slip? Because the airplane appears to be leaning forward, either to the right or to the left. If there is a crosswind from the right, most experienced pilots will typically have a coordinated aircraft until they get close to the runway. However, with primary students, it's normal to have them set themselves up early prior to the flare. Why? Because with less experienced pilots, you want to give them time to set up the cross control so that they know they can handle the crosswind and then land while holding the crosswind landing technique. Most experienced pilots will hold a crab all the way to the flare, and then during the flare, they will conduct the cross control maneuver. Unfortunately, in primary training, one of the things that's not mentioned for students when they practice engine failures is the incorporation of forward slips if they need to increase the rate of descent. And it's unfortunate because sometimes, even with full flaps, you may have to get down quicker, and you can still do a cross-control forward slip if you need to. It's an emergency, you gotta get down, it's okay to do it. This next tidbit of advice is for all pilots. Sometimes if there's an emergency and you're over a runway, you may be going too fast. There are many videos on YouTube, not just with propeller airplanes, but with small jets landing gear up where they're just floating way down the runway, way too far down the runway. There's nothing wrong or illegal by incorporating a forward slip to dissipate all of that kinetic energy. There's nothing wrong with doing it. You're already in an emergency situation. Incorporate a forward slip so that you actually have some runway remaining in front of you in which to land. If you're concerned at all that you're going too fast or that the runway area is too short, please consider incorporating a forward slip to dissipate any excess energy.